My prediction is a new Iron Man in the next 10 years. That's
I don't think they're gonna touch that. I think there's like now that like Marvel has like the rights to like X-Men and all that stuff. They have so much to explore
X-Men's
now.
such a big stake.
And they'll reboot X-Men again.
100%.
Jeez.
But maybe it'll be good.
Maybe
it'll be good.
Maybe.
So it's gonna be a really interesting time, like the next like couple of years for Marvel.
Yeah.
Well, in the same place, Star Wars. Actually, Star Wars is also kind of in the same place, honestly.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no, this is the end of the Skywalker saga. It's like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah. Then what?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is the finals of Season 1 of the Bracketiers, where we're deciding what is the greatest movie franchise of all time. It is Star Wars versus the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh.
Ooh,
Big one.
Big boys.
SCU versus MCU.
SWU.
SCU.
I knew I was going to mess it up.
Yeah.
I had confidence. I was like,
The Star Cars universe.
Star Wars is one word. Star Wars.
Star Cars
SWC.
universe.
Star Cars.
Yeah, Star Cars.
All right. Well, we've talked a lot about both these two already.
Yeah.
So we have kind of a clear idea of the highlights of both, the weaknesses of both. It's tough. These are two.
There's a lot. I've been thinking about this.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like when you think about, big thing, music. What are some banger jams from any of the Marvel films?
The thing about the Marvel films with bangers, I was thinking about this too.
Yeah.
They're not made for the movies. It's just that Guardians of the Galaxy uses an amazing soundtrack.
I would
Right.
completely ignore Guardians from that. But
I understand what Peter's trying to say is like in terms of the score.
Oh, yeah, during the
Star Wars has such the score is recognizable.
True.
It's legendary. I will say there are. I listen to a couple of comic book and like nerdy podcasts and stuff, and there are people out there who are diehards of the Marvel scores. Mm-hmm. Because the Avengers score, every single character has their own score. Like Black Widow has a score, Thor has a score, Captain America has a score, and as a casual viewer and watcher in general public, you probably don't recognize that. But you could go through and you can listen to them in in Infinity War and in Endgame. They play out, and there's, depending on the scene, depending on what's going on, they tweak it. And while there's been a bunch of different composers for Marvel, Star Wars, I always go back to John Williams. And now there's
so consistent.
And even now with some of the other outbranching stuff, there's people who, I forget his name, who did. I have to look it up.
But there's a sound, a culture of sound that Star Wars is really.
It's composers who were inspired by John Williams, and now it's I get to take his themes and I get to do something with it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna look up something real quick. You guys can keep going.
Dubstep remix,
Yeah.
Imperial March dubstep remix.
And even iconic lines like Luke, I am your father. Stuff that has followed us through time.
Michael Giacchino. And he started Rogue One was one of his first big films, and now he's starting to do way more composing for a lot of other films. I think he's done composing for Marvel as well. But he was the first one to do music for a Star Wars movie outside of Williams.
Wow.
And Williams still does the main series, but when they do other stuff like Rogue One and Solo, they bring in someone else. And he was the first one to ever touch that arrangement and start to try and do something new with it. So, but no, the Marvel score, I think if anything, the one that stands out is the Avengers theme.
Everyone knows that theme. Yeah. But it's one of those things too, it's Star Wars has been around for longer, right?
Exactly.
So it's like in 10 years, but at the same time, I don't think in 10 years.
I don't think people will be thinking about
Yes.
the Avengers films, like all the MCU films, in a way, like even like nostalgically as they do Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's possible, but I don't think.
I think as like films, they're huge movies, make a fuck ton of money, but
Yeah.
they're not like these like cultural touchstones.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing because we basically have a property that has been around for a very, very, very long time, but has recently gotten a huge surge into it because of a decade of storytelling. And then we have a property that is very nostalgia.
Yeah.
Right.
And basically the majority of the fan base is because of that nostalgia.
But like Star Wars is like one big property, whereas the Marvel Cinematic Universe is like hundreds of properties crushed
that's
together.
very true. Yeah.
Like under an umbrella.
Because you can have Iron Man by himself, you can have Thor by himself, you can have Captain America by himself, and it is that culmination of like their stories all being wrapped up into something like Endgame. But it's tricky just because it's like a hot property versus something that a lot of people have nostalgia for. Because you can say like the recent Marvel stuff is really good. Recent Star Wars stuff is tricky.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about Star Wars, where you immediately go back to like, oh man, first time I watched New Hope, like that immediately comes into it. While I don't think too many people, maybe really big Marvel fans, go, man, first time I watched Iron Man. Because Iron Man was honestly a thing where I was like, Iron Man?
I saw it at like midnight premiere in the theater.
I was one of those people who went, I was like, Iron Man's like a B-level
Well, that's
guy.
that's what the whole
unless you know the comics, where he is the other side of Captain America's Civil War. But like, there's
all
so
those
many
characters were though, like even like Captain America, like Thor, fine. Like it was kind of like full fuck. Like Marvel didn't own the rights to X-Men or Spider-Man, and they're like really like they're like, okay, we could do Avengers, we could do an Avengers thing, even Guardians of the Galaxy, like the way they made that was just like there was like a what like.
Guardians is, I think, where I like, because I remember seeing Avengers for the first time, and I went, I saw Avengers way later than everybody else, because it got so overhyped for me. And then I was like, okay, I'll watch it eventually, and then I saw it, and I wasn't blown away by it.
Yeah.
Guardians was one where I was like, nah. Like, what is this? I don't even know what Guardians of the Galaxy is. And so many people were shitting on it, like, what, it's a tree and a talking raccoon?
Yeah.
Then you go watch the movie and you're like, this is genius.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, Guardians really like that made it that Guardians of the Galaxy is very interesting. But like I feel like a lot of the Marvel movies are, albeit very good, just that they just kind of like blur together. And it all comes because it all becomes like a soup.
All right, I've run out of patience. On to ruse! Nice job, kid.
Thanks. Well, I could have stuck the landing a little better. It's just a new suit. Wait, it's nothing. Mr. Stark, it's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't really need to start a conversation.
Okay. Captain? Big fan of Spider-Man?
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Just,
Hey, everyone.
good job. You've been busy. And you've been a complete idiot.
I can definitely understand that, yeah.
Like
I do think I think Star Wars has less. It's weird to say because Star Wars cinematically feels older, but Marvel has more movies than Star Wars. So there's so many, right? So it's one of those things that like
Marvel has almost. I'll count them.
Because
I'm pretty sure
that's crazy.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 20.
I think it's around 87 at this point.
So it has more movies, so I see what you mean about soup. But I will say, I think where Marvel has Star Wars beat is about variety. So like, while it's the same hits, it's like the team, ragtag group of people, like, let's make it happen, like, you know, that type of thing, or hero from nothing. I build this thing, now I'm a thing. At the very least, the characters are different. They're different, like, types. It's not exactly the same hero every time. They don't come from the same place. The teams are different. The where it's happening is different. It is the same universe, but, like, Guardians of the Galaxy is way into space. Thor is on some planet that's, I guess, space, but also Earth-related gods. I don't know. So where it does have Star Wars beat is in variety of, like, it's kind of the same story, but
just kind of I get what you mean with that.
Yeah.
By the way, since 2008 when Iron Man came out, there are 23 Marvel movies.
Holy
wow.
shit.
Yeah.
There are 23 Marvel movies.
Star Wars has 11.
11.
Okay.
Yeah. Over way more time.
Yeah.
In 12 years, 23 movies in 12 years? Holy crap.
Wow.
That is a monopoly.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the expanse of that too, where you got like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
TV
Oh,
shows,
my
Marvel
God.
TV. Oh my god.
Nuts.
You had Peggy Carter,
Jessica Jones.
Oh,
Yeah.
Peggy Carter.
Luke Cage. Iron Fist.
Daredevil, Punisher.
Yeah.
Like you have all these expanding parts where it went to TV, while Star Wars is they had Clone Wars for a long time. They had the animated stuff.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you have never seen the original Clone Wars seasons,
Was it in 2D?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was animated by the guy who created Samurai Jack.
Yes, I have seen some of that. It's very good.
The entirety of it is on YouTube, and it's an hour and a half long. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good because it's just like gets the bare bones of like these characters, and it's great.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson gets his moment to shine too, because his Mace Windu, is that his character name? Like takes on an army of robots, and it is.
It's beautifully
very cool.
animated. It's beautifully animated. You need to watch it.
Okay.
It's beautifully animated. But like. With Mando, that's kind of their first like foray into like let's tell a smaller story and all these things. While like Marvel does have the variety of like we have all this stuff that we can talk about and these characters from like street level to like galactic, and I do agree with like there's a lot of people that I know who have never gotten into Star Wars, and they say that it's hard to say. No, like I want you to know how like what big a fan I am of Star Wars, and they're like, well, I tried to watch like one of the movies. There's nothing then that I can go like, no, watch this instead, because they're all kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
While like Marvel, it's like, well, I don't really like superhero movies. It's like, okay, well, what about this? Maybe try Ant-Man. Maybe try Guardians.
Yeah.
And then like you have all these different options of like entry and interest, and you have these more comedy focused ones. You have these more serious ones.
Yeah.
That variety comes from like my earlier point of it, this being like one property and this being like just a bunch of different properties under a big umbrella. Like it's easier to diversify when you don't have like set rules and lore of like one specific thing.
Yeah, and like we're mentioning the properties just because we're talking about franchises, and the bracket is movie franchises specifically. And while we did mention like Marvel has had these characters for decades and stuff, and that does help like support why the movies themselves have been as popular and as good as they are. Like these two franchises go into so much other stuff. Like Star Wars has comics too, and then you go into toys, you go into video games, you go into like they have literally everything.
Yeah.
They have been able to merchandise the properties to the full extent of then like making it. There's every way that you can enjoy Marvel, every way you can enjoy a Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That it makes sense why these two are the juggernauts that they are in terms of, being something that people love all over the world.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh no.
I know what.
Wrong fuses.
Kill them and take the droid!
I would say too, Marvel, if you're talking average of how good the movies, exactly. I think Marvel has Star Wars beat on like the basis of like a good film. I think they're average out.
You can't I can't like when you think about Star Wars, you think these big moments, you have these big scenes, and I think it's like the Star Wars films, even the shit ones, even like the prequels, like you could, there's still a ton of moments to just pick out, like even just to roast it, and I think like
that's what I'm saying, right? Not for the best reasons.
So it's like even in terms of just like being like staying in like culture, like there's like a subreddit where it's prequel memes. And it's just, and it's so funny. And it's just like, people are still thinking about the film to an extent. I don't think people are going back and reminiscing about like Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
Hey guys, remember that really funny scene in Iron Man 1? Or hey, remember like in Thor Ragnarok when Cate Blanchett did that? Like, I don't think people think about the Marvel movies in the same scope as people think about the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I hear what you mean scope-wise. I hear that. Yeah. I do think there's like some, like, what was I thinking a second ago? There's like, when we're talking about like memes and stuff like that, where it's like people bring that back to like make fun of or whatever. Yeah. I was trying to think with the Marvel thing.
There's not even like in terms of like the only thing that was like a meme moment was everyone getting dusted.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's all
and
that,
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Yeah. And that was like, I think the only, like cultural, like internet, like cultural sensation, because otherwise it's Chris Evans. Do you know that like someone doctored a photo of Chris Evans with like long acrylics? There's a photo of Chris Evans just doing this, but they photoshopped like long acrylic nails, a hat, like long hair, and it's really. And I think
there was the Civil War like meme for a long time where it was the Captain America Iron Man one. Where it's like
we have a Hulk?
No, it was the something like if you lose that suit, what else do you have? And he's like billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, whatever. And there was that, and people turned it into like this Civil War. It was that one.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
But I think all of that just plays into the fact of like the modern versus nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like we live in an era of entertainment where it's consume and forget.
Yeah.
You know? And like a lot of the Marvel movies, I do agree where it's like, you know, you watch Iron Man 1 for the first time, no one's going back and rewatching Iron Man,
That's a good
Thor,
Yeah.
First Captain America, First Avenger. Like I recently rewatched and watched some of these movies for the first time recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's amazing. I don't know if I'll ever go back and watch it.
Yeah.
It's more like an experience.
Yeah.
And if you're along for the ride, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, Star Wars is a thing where I will go back and rewatch the prequels.
Yeah.
Just to be like, okay, were these really that bad? And I rewatch them like, there's some great moments here, but
Yeah.
You can do the machete order. You can watch like the thing that whomever cut together of the I think the prequels like chronologically in the proper time.
Yeah, there's the Red Letter Media order. A lot of people, Star Wars has been this thing where the fans went like, okay, there's something good here.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's the good part of the fandom is people went, there's something good.
There's a huge community that revolves around it. Since like getting like the original print of the Star Wars films is possible because. Like
that is a thing. That is a big thing too. Is that Lucas as a creator is.
And then, like the community came together and they like remastered, like they demastered the remasters.
Yeah.
Like they had reached out to one of the background artists. And he's like, I still have it.
That's awesome.
And they had superimposed it, or someone found like an old 35mm print, like they had scanned it, and they had like restored them.
Cool.
I mentioned last time we were talking about Star Wars how like there's a part of the Blu-ray, there's this behind the scenes thing of like George Lucas playing the Force and everything. There's another one where it's George Lucas. It's a whole mini doc about when they made the remasters.
Mm-hmm.
And George Lucas was like, and I forget what it's called, but it's something like it all started with a do-back, because it's that scene in the first movie on Tatooine in the desert where they're looking around. It's look, sir, droids.
Yes,
it's like that whole part. And George Lucas was like, I really wanted like actual walking around do-backs in this scene.
Yeah.
Maybe we have the technology now where I can add that. And that's where it started from. And then he was like, well, what else can I fix?
Yeah.
Oh, that scene with Han Solo and
Greedo?
No, Han Solo. Oh, there's that.
And Jabba, where he's
Han Solo
to
and Jabba.
Yeah.
Because Jabba the Hutt was originally going to be a person. And it wasn't later they're like, no, we can do that. So we'll just cut this scene out of A New Hope. And he put it back in. And it's this weird thing where they had to like cut out Han Solo where he steps on his tail. And Han Solo does this like jittery jump because he's not actually supposed to be. He doesn't actually walk over anything.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is he went back. He's like, what all can I fix? Oh, make the explosions bigger. Make the and he just started trying to refix things.
Yeah.
And it's a big issue of like it creates this conversation of like when something is put into pop culture, who is the ownership? Is it the creator or is it the culture? And I think because Star Wars has such a huge fandom of people that then decide to I want to create my own stories because they're inspired by Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they want to do their own things. Star Wars fan films, there's some amazing ones out there. There was a Darth Maul one that came out a couple years ago that has like 10 million views on YouTube now. They made it all for free.
Yeah.
Because they just wanted to make tell this story of Darth Maul and have these epic fight scenes and just highlight the character more.
Yeah.
Marvel just has a breadth of content of different comic runs and all these different things and they can tell whatever story that they want because they've already written every single story about these characters. And so there's not really anything new that you can do with Marvel.
Yeah.
Really. And also, I mean, we're talking about fandoms too. Marvel fans, comic book fans, all together are tough.
Yeah.
Because you want to stay so true to the story, but people have written weird, when Miles Morales was introduced.
Yeah.
People are pissed.
We're pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, Black Spider-Man. It's no. Anyone can be Spider-Man.
Anyone can be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Anyone can be
You
Spider-Man.
get bit by a spider. That's literally the only criteria.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
But maybe your uncle died.
Thor's a woman!
there's literally a giant comic run about Jane Foster as Thor, and it's great. It's really interesting. It's keeping the sanctity of the comics, but it's anyone can Marvel can do whatever they want. It's just hard in the sense of there's just not too much expansion without creating brand new things.
Yeah.
Well, Star Wars just has so much there that can be turned, tweaked, and done. I think.
But also the comics, Marvel is really putting out comics wise, there's a real indie sensibility of what Marvel's doing now. They're collaborating with these really small artists. There was a run of She-Hulk where she's a lawyer. She's just doing, and I think that's what's inspiring the TV show. It's just it's her, it's Doctor Doom's son has an immigration issue, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
It's really
so it's
really
normal
fun.
stories. They just happen to
It's
have power.
it's like Ally McBeal.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
that's really funny.
there's even a story that's they're going to start doing on Disney Plus. They're going to be doing the What If series.
Yeah,
that's so sick.
And What If was a comic series where they literally were like,
what if this shitty thing happened?
It's literally What If, and it's just what if Green Goblin got the Infinity Gauntlet?
Yeah, it's such a deep universe.
Right.
It's and that's the whole point of that series. And
there's so much. There's so much in it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense of why they are very specific and protecting of the IP in terms of the movies. Because they have so much that they can do. But now I think that they're in a place where they can start doing all the weird stuff.
Yeah.
I think the only problem with Marvel is that we've mentioned this before, but where is it going to go?
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? Because when are we going to get a reboot of Captain America? When are we going to get a reboot of Iron Man?
Yeah.
And are they going to stay true to themselves and go, no, Tony Stark's story was told.
Yeah.
That's it. If you want that, go back and watch 1, 2, and 3 and these phases.
My prediction is a new Iron Man in the next 10 years. That's
I don't think they're going to touch that. I think there's now that Marvel has the rights to X-Men and all that stuff. They have so much to. They have so much to explore
X-Men's
now.
such a big stake to
and they'll reboot X-Men again.
100%.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll be good.
Maybe
it'll be good.
Maybe.
So it's gonna be a really interesting time, the next couple of years for Marvel.
Yeah.
Well, in the same place, Star Wars. Star Wars is also kind of in the same place, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're no, this is the end of the Skywalker saga. It's what's gonna happen?
Yeah. Then what?
Yeah.
Maybe we can still heal you.
Why? So you could just lock me up? No. Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like the only thing that's Star Wars wise right now is Mandalorian.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that that's getting a second season. There's the whole the whole thing about that the guys who made Game of Thrones are doing their own trilogy now.
I thought
I
got canned. I think it got canned.
Oh right.
Yeah.
What was it for again?
I don't know, but I'm glad they
For
got
being
canned.
idiots because they suck.
Yeah.
Basically, they made the deal.
I think that they had commitment to something else and they had to
Right.
choose or something like that. I remember that now.
Good, thank God. Oh my God, get those men away from Star Wars.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Get those men away from anything.
What I want to see next in Star Wars, I want to see Old Republic. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Just like what was the basis of the Jedi, and just go back to like make it classical but interesting and new and funny and stuff.
Yeah.
But then you even have stuff like Jedi Fallen Order, the video game.
Yeah.
That's canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
right.
I think what Star Wars is probably going to do is going to start telling smaller stories within the universe.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
good.
That is good.
While Marvel is like, where we go from here?
What's gonna happen?
We have to start telling these other stories. It's interesting. But I guess to start wrapping up, we talked a lot about just the properties in general, and go back to specifically these sets of movies, I guess, because we can all agree that these two franchises have done just so much.
Yeah.
And we can go and touch into like how they've changed Hollywood, how they've evolved the industry and all that stuff, but then just maybe quality of movies is kind of like the final point to make of like, I think the first trilogy of Star Wars is a masterpiece.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think it is it's a masterpiece, and it shines way over all the other movies. I think that there's a lot in the Star Wars world and through the movies that are great scenes and great characters, and just suffer from bad storytelling.
Yeah.
Because you can point out a lot of Star Wars characters and be like, that's an amazing character, that's an amazing moment. Like we were talking off screen between all this, we were like, Babu Freak. Or I love from Rogue One, I love K2SO. I think he's one of the best droids.
Yeah.
You have all these characters and people.
On the meme front, Baby Yoda took over
the internet. Baby Yoda broke the internet.
Yeah.
Like Kim Kardashian wanted to.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you have Marvel, and I can look at a lot of the movies and go, that's a great moment. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Nothing stands out as
Nothing.
except for like, I think Infinity War and Endgame are brilliant, but you needed all of that first.
Yep.
You needed all of that legwork and all that groundwork.
Yeah. And then the best Marvel movie doesn't beat the best Star Wars movie. However, the worst Marvel movie is probably better than the worst Star Wars movie.
But even and it's kind of like for Star Wars, it's like it's so bad it's good almost. Like there's a level of camp there, and it's even kind of when you think about it, like I feel like in their own way, all the Star Wars movies are like iconic.
Yeah.
Even at its worst, you know, like you still have like shitty Jar Jar. You still have you have all these like weird things that come into it, but people are still like thinking about it, you know, and it's in a way like it's still
nobody thinks about Iron Man 2.
Yeah. Or that kid from Iron Man 3, you know? There's a lot of things
I don't want
like
to talk about Iron Man 3. Don't even
there's
get
a lot
started.
of there's a lot of things that are like really forgettable about that. Like it's like so, but I want to say like so if we extended like the last 3 films of Star Wars and like imagine if like Poe had his own movie and like imagine if Finn got his own movie.
Yeah.
Like if they had built it up in a way that was like an MCU kind of deal,
Right.
I think they would all be bangers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if Holdo had her own movie, just like Laura Dern on a ship, purple hair, just like having a good time, being a boss, you know, that'd been great. But yeah, like, but I think people, like, even at its worst, you know, like, people don't think about, like, Thor 2 in the same, like, relevant way that people think about, like, the first, like,
I hear you.
shitty, you know, like
Attack of the Clones
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
no one really thinks about it like that.
There's 11 Star Wars movies,
Yeah.
23 Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I can think of like 5 holy crap scenes from the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
When it comes to Marvel, it's like,
Yeah.
does it really have those same moments that are
Yeah.
like, this will change the way I perceive
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
This,
I don't
this
know.
gives me chills,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest problems with the Marvel films is that it's very like it's good. It's all good, but it's not great. It doesn't really push nothing that the Marvel films do other than its incredible scope. Do anything really interesting or innovative.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, but
it all plays by the book. They're all very safe.
the one thing, and I don't know if it was this episode or another thing, is I talked about Thanos as a villain or whatever.
Yeah.
that was a
Which
lot. That
they
was
didn't
a
go
lot.
super deep into Thanos. However, to choose a big movie like that to make a villain so empathetic and then
You
have
understood,
them win,
yeah.
like, and you know, Empire Strikes Back, Vader wins in
Yeah.
a way, you
Yeah.
know, but Thanos really wins. Like
Yeah.
Thanos.
She
They
snapped.
undo it
She
or whatever.
snapped, mama.
He was
Yeah.
the protagonist, right? So
Yeah.
that was different. However, I would
I will have to say, talking about bad guys, Darth Vader doesn't have. I mean, it also was a different era.
yeah.
So we grew up in the era of like everyone knew the Star Wars movies already.
Yeah.
But like, if you go back and watch it, Darth Vader doesn't have to do. If you forget about prequels and
Yeah.
everything like that, and just focus on like New Hope, then Empire, and then Jedi, like Darth Vader barely has to do anything to then be the scariest thing.
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Enough of this. Vader, release him.
As you wish.
I feel like when you're watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all of the movies there, you're kind of just like waiting for them to get to the Avengers. Because you're like, all of the shit's gonna hit the fan. Like, how are they gonna fix everything? How are they gonna weave all the stories together? But with Star Wars, it doesn't even matter that much, like, how it all works together. You just want to see what happens next. And that is, to me, the separating point between these two things. That's right.
Yeah, and you're hoping your brain was going to give you words, yeah.
No, what I was thinking is like, but with Marvel, like, I think the only thing is, it's tricky. I'm trying to think of these through the lens of like a general audience, you know, and just saying because with Star Wars, I know what other stories are available but can be told.
Right.
But I think with Star Wars, there's a lot more freedom to tell them new stories. While with Marvel, I'm like, well, they might move on to this villain, they might bring up this character, which are all going to be amazing and awesome.
Yeah.
But like, I know what those stories can be.
Right.
You know, so it's interesting as like a franchise so far as a whole. There's a lot more possibilities for both, but one can be known if you actually like read up and look at the details and like look at the comics and go, okay, where can they go next?
Yeah.
While Star Wars is like also, I mean, at the same time, they literally have told us what's coming next.
For which?
For Marvel.
Oh, yeah. They told us the
They
pages,
got
I
a
know.
30-year plan what's going to happen.
Yeah. While Star Wars, and yeah, they're hiding some stuff from us. Like, fuck, we're gonna get a new Blade movie.
Oh, yeah.
With Mirage Ali.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Mahershala
shut the fuck
Ali.
up, really?
Yeah. It's gonna be sick.
Like, we're gonna get Black Panther 2. We're getting Guardians of the
I
Galaxy
rewatched like a couple of the Blade movies recently, and I was like,
So good.
I was like, these are hilarious. Like,
So good.
but also kind of sick. So
Like,
we'll see how it all goes.
Like, one thing I know that's gonna happen eventually in Marvel, well, it's probably gonna happen with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, is we're gonna get Adam Warlock, which is gonna introduce a whole mess of stuff if you know his involvement in the Marvel Universe. Because he's basically a god. And he rides that line of... He's even more... Adam Warlock is even more Vision. where he's like, he rides that line of good and evil. And so it's going to be interesting when he gets brought in. And hell, there's tons of villains that can be brought into Marvel still. Thanos was one of the bigger ones, but there's got Galactus. There's
Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Oh man,
big villain.
Mostly to the film industry. But.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really good point. God, this is tough.
Let's make
this a tough one. Let's call it.
Well, think about this. Okay, this movie is going into the Bracketiers Hall of Fame. And which one like deserves that spot? You know what I mean? Like, which film you think will endure the test? Like,
endure the test of time.
Which one is which one is the most iconic? Really?
Okay.
I know.
I think.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Voting time. Raise your hand if you're voting for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Really?
Yeah.
All right. Why then?
So Marvel, this is where I'm stuck now because Star Wars right now doesn't have a lot of hope. Like it is a nostalgic movie you watch a lot. But I'm not confident about the next steps. Like, if they do a 30-year reset like they did for The Force Awakens, they pull something like that, amazing, you know? The Mandalorian was good. It wasn't a super amazing show for me. Baby Yoda brought that show from a 65 to an 85 for me. I just want to see Baby Yoda scenes. I'm not being funny or mean about that. I genuinely love watching Baby Yoda scenes. I find it so cute. When it's interacting with other kids, it was amazing.
The child.
I'm more enthusiastic about the next chapter of Marvel than I am about the next chapter of Star Wars. That's what it is. Yeah, personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who's voting for Star Wars?
Hell yeah! It's already withstood the test of time. That's what makes it so iconic.
Yeah.
I think the reason for me is Star Wars is it is a subjective vote because it is like one of my. I watch it and I'm just blown away. I have such fond memories of Star Wars, and yes, pretty much every time we talk about this, it's going to be the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But I think. One thing for me is whenever I've gone and seen one of the new movies, it instills this like breath of fresh air into me, being like, this is why I love movies. And like, yeah, there's some bad parts, yeah, it's misses in storytelling, yeah, there's expectations and stuff, but like, Star Wars changed everything. And it's something where I look at it as a whole. Yeah, there's some dark moments, but the good moments are so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like it's an incredible idea that someone came up with, and it has been told over again and again, and there is a giant universe out there giant galaxy.
Yes.
out there to explore. And there's some great stories that can be told, and I think that there's a bigger possibility of originality that can come from the Star Wars series than Marvel. Because I think anything that's being created today in Marvel, we're not going to see for a few years to be brought to the big screen and to the general audience of the world.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the new stuff they're making is still comic-based, moving into TV, animated stuff, small cartoon things, but I think there's a bigger possibility for new stuff like The Mandalorian and like whatever they do next. I love Marvel, but to stand the test of time and to have innovated so much over the last couple of decades, Star Wars is incredible.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 but also this is cool.
But also this is cool.
I don't.
Like, we said it at the beginning of this whole thing that, honestly, no matter what, we knocked out Lord of the Rings in the first round. Like,
it had to be done.
But it's a nice franchise.
but honestly, all of the movies that we talk about, it have their high points, have their low points, are good and bad. Some people love them, some people don't. Whatever you love it. Like, be a fan of what it is that you are a fan of, and be proud of it.
And roast us in the comments.
Yeah.
I was literally just about to say, but don't hate people for not liking the thing.
No, hate us. Give us that engagement.
Get a table, get 3 of your friends together, record it, and trash us.
So, the winner of our season 1 of what is the greatest movie franchise of all time is Star Wars.
Da, 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 da.
Let us know what you would have chosen for your bracket. Let us know in the comments and say who would have won each round. We're going to do one final episode of this season as a wrap-up, talking about the matches that we had, the ones that didn't make it to the bracket. It's going to be a good time. So, thank you so much for watching this season so far. Tune into the next bonus episode, and let us know in the comments what you want to see us put in the next season of Bracketiering.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the best classic animated Disney movie? Is it what's the best N64 game?
Oh,
yes, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it what's the best Zelda game ever?
Yeah.
Do you want to do
Is it why you love Breath of the Wild the most? And
is it the did you say it on screen? I can't remember if you said it on screen or not. No, maybe you did. What's the best Daniel Day-Lewis?
Best Daniel
Day-Lewis performance. Yeah.
Let us know what you
street performance.
Let us know what you want us to bracketeer next time. But otherwise, we'll see you in the bonus episode, and you have a good one. Thank you for watching.
Cheers. Bye bye.